Welcome everybody. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and celebrate Veterans Day with us here at Washington City. We know that it's limited, but we know why. We're here to protect, like our armed forces servicemen did. They were here to serve and protect. We are grateful for you to show up. We're grateful for all those that have participated in making this event happen. We can't wait to unveil Blazing Freedom for you to see, for us to have this here as a permanent reminder for all those who diligently served in all the armed forces. You know, I have four uncles and a father that served in the military in different branches. So I understand sacrifice, and I'm grateful for that. We will have a short program. I've asked Chris Staley if he will offer some history about this bison. And I want to thank our city council publicly for having the wherewithal and the forthright to have this happen. Thank you, city council. Thank you, you wonderful citizens of Washington City. We thank our youth council. We've asked them during a certain part of the program to unveil our bison. And if any member of the city council wants to join them, you're welcome to. So without any further ado, Chris Staley.
Good morning. My name is Councilman Chris Staley, and the mayor has invited me to introduce and unveil this bison that has been done in partnership with Dixie State University. It's really been a community effort. If you drive around our area, you see art in the city, and you see a number of bison with a number of different types of artwork and a number of different types of symbolism. We have one in Washington at Sullivan Park. And it was a bison that needed a home, and Kelly Charlton reached out to us and asked if we had a place where it could be placed. And of course we did, and our city worked really hard to get that one placed down at Sullivan Park. During that time, Kelly was speaking with myself and the mayor and Councilman Ivey and said, we really ought to have one that honors our veterans. And that morphed into a discussion amongst the rest of the council and staff, and it seemed only fitting that a veterans bison would be commissioned, not only as a way to support Dixie State University, but more importantly to honor our veterans. And so we are very proud to be here at this unveiling today. We're very happy to be able to support Dixie State University as part of it. Before I go on, let me just take a moment. With the governor's emergency order, we had to scale this back. And so we are recording this and we're sending this out. Nevertheless, there are several veterans who have showed up this morning who need to be recognized and honored. And I hope that I did not miss any of them. Let me go through and introduce you to a few of them. Commander Jonathan Little, U.S. Navy, Washington City resident. Alberto Herrera, U.S. Army, served in Germany. 8th Infantry, was there when the Berlin Wall came down. James Webb, Navy, 1958 to 1964, an aircraft machinist. Everett Browse, 63 to 67, United States Marine Corps. Mike Taylor, 21 and a half years in the Marine Corps and the Army. Cole Staley and Burke Staley, Golden Boys from the Triple Deuce, 2nd of the 222nd Field Artillery. I had the honor of serving with both of them. And Neil Barrett from the Air Force. Can we just give, those few that are here, can we just give them a round of applause and thank them for their service? And those of you who are watching and those of you throughout the country, veterans who have served, let us from the bottom of our heart give you thank you and our appreciation. Now, as I said, this has been a collaborative effort between the community, the city, and Dixie State University. And as such, I'd just like to take a few minutes to thank those involved. First of all, Kelly Charlton, who I mentioned earlier, she was the designer and the driving force. She had the vision to make this happen. So thank you very much, Kelly. We're grateful for you and for your foresight. One of the things that Kelly, among many that she did brilliantly, was she was able to enlist the services of the same artist who did the American Trailblazer at Sullivan Park. And that artist, her name is Jody Gerber. She is a Dixie State University grad in fine arts. She's currently a graduate student in California. With Kelly's encouragement and support, Jody made the sacrifice to come back from California to Utah over the summer and spent her summer designing and painting this bison. And what was really special is that Dixie State University opened up their facilities to where she was able to do that on campus in the art department. So that was fantastic. You're going to see very soon how talented of an artist she is. She's absolutely amazing, Jody Gerber. A quick round of applause for Kelly and Jody. As we're talking about Dixie State University, we really appreciate their support. We appreciate the relationship that we have with them. So we would like to thank President Richard B. Williams for his support of this project, along with Vice President of Marketing and Communication, Jonathan Sharp, as well as Director of University Events and Promotion, Megan Church. A round of applause for them, please. In the art department, there was one individual in particular who was helpful every day, and he is a professor that's been there for a long time, a tenured professor by the name of Glenn Blakely. He was the sounding board for Jody and Kelly all along the way. As you can see and as you will see, it's not easy to paint on a bison. There are so many contours, but he would come in every day and look at it from different angles and offer suggestions and advice. Lastly, we want to thank a few others, Star Sign and Banner, who mounted who was able to place this bison, particularly Albert Espinoza, who confessed that this bison is his favorite. Albert, it's my favorite too. And also, I just want to give a little bit of recognition to David Brown of Cotton Creek Dental. He was more than willing to purchase and place this in front of his dental practice, but I think we got the right place here in front of Veterans Memorial Park. From the city, Mayor Nelson, thank you. Thank you for your leadership. I'd like to thank the council, Councilman Craig Coates, Councilman Doug Ward, former Councilman Daniel Clough, and Councilman Kurt Ivey, who's also been very busy with the Field of Flags and the flags on the veterans' graves. We appreciate them. It's an honor for me to work and serve with them. Thank you. We'd like to welcome our new city manager, Jeremy Redd. We appreciate you being here today. Some of your staff, Jeremy, were very influential, particularly our community development director, Drew Ellerman. He was the one that said, this is the spot for a veterans bison. This is the best spot, so appreciate that, Drew. Our Leisure Services Director, Barry Blake, and specifically Assistant Director over Parks and Recreation, Cole Staley. Park Superintendent, Paul Walker, and all of his staff for their efforts. Can we give a round of applause to Paul Walker? It looks great, doesn't it? And we cannot forget Public Works. Mike Shaw is the department head there, but he delegated most of this work to Andy Stevens, who is a street superintendent, and and the individuals there worked very hard to do the concrete and cut out the asphalt and prepare this spot. So we really appreciate them. Now this bison went on tour because it was finished in the summer, and it was always the plan to unveil it at Veterans Day. So its first unveiling of sorts was all along Telegraph Street, and it was in the Washington County Parade. After that parade, it spent a few days at the Veterans, the World War II Veterans Memorial at the county fairgrounds. And it was very well received for those who was able to see it there. It then was transported to the VA hospital in Ivins, where it spent some time, particularly during some of the worst times of quarantine during COVID. So what was special about that was that every single veteran who was in that VA facility was able to individually come down, spend some time reflecting and looking at the bison, and they each had their picture taken by the bison. I'm convinced that the VA or Ivins would have gladly taken our bison, but we will not let them have it. It took a little bit of time at Dixie 4-wheel drive. Apparently people who drive 4-wheel trucks are veterans as well. It spent some time at Sun River at their Veterans Memorial. It was very well received there. And then it came back to Washington and was displayed at the clubhouse at Brio. And it was there for a very special presentation during POW and MIA Day. And now it's made its way home to its final place here at Veterans Memorial Park. What we'd like to do now is invite youth council members and any other council or mayor elected officials to come up and do the actual unveiling. Let me introduce you to our youth council members who will be doing this. Carter Libby, OJ Olivio, Priscilla Wilson, Berkeley Olson, Chase Adams, Sidney Beecher, and Benjamin Park. At this time, we'd like to invite them forward with any council members and mayor who would like to be involved in the unveiling of the bison. Ladies and gentlemen, blazing freedom. Blazing freedom depicts our soldiers who served on land, in the air, and on the sea. On the water side, 3 P-51 Mustangs, significant to those who have served and are affiliated with the Air Force. Some local history is that there were some Wilson brothers who flew these Mustangs and who were flying trainers when they lost their lives. But a P-51 Mustang is certainly indicative of the Air Force. Flying high above all is an eagle, symbolic of our ability to have a view that is different than any other country, a clear vision, if you will. A Coast Guard cutter. That's the term used for Coast Guard commissioned vessels. You'd be surprised if you go into the museum and see all of the veterans, a lot of the veterans, primarily from World War II, you'd be surprised at how many served in the Coast Guard. Very fitting that we have a Coast Guard cutter on this bison. the battleship is a cruiser. It's a light cruiser. Specifically, it is the USS Biloxi. It's a Navy ship that has a very storied and very historied experience in the Pacific during World War II. Also some local significance, and we really appreciate that. On the side that is on the land side behind me, in the air is a B-52 bomber, also significant of the Air Force, airborne, and very iconic. Flying high in the sky, you'll see an American flag, the symbol of freedom and democracy, the world we live in, and the ability to be who we want to be because of our birthright. There's also, and this was a later addition but very fitting, was a Black Hawk helicopter. Those of you who think of Vietnam or Afghanistan and many other conflicts around the world, a Black Hawk helicopter is fitting. Ground soldiers to portray the infantry and the Marines, the thousands and thousands of soldiers who sacrificed on the ground and in the trenches. We honor them. And last on the back is another element of local significance. As I mentioned earlier, our local Army unit primarily and historically has been the 2nd of the 222nd Field Artillery, affectionately known as the Golden Boys. Signifying them and their sacrifice in Korea and the Gulf War and others is an M155 howitzer. It's a tracked artillery piece that some will confuse with the tank, but an artillery unit lobs the bombs high and far and supports the infantry. So the M155 howitzer with the projectile coming out of the barrel is portrayed on there. As you look to the head of this Bison, you will notice that it has no eyes or no painted eyes. That is in remembrance and in reverence of the unseen and missing in action soldiers, those who didn't return. We have lost thousands and thousands of soldiers over the year, some accounted for and some never accounted for. On the head, you'll also notice fireworks. Think of the lyrics, the rockets, red glare, and the bombs bursting in air. Songs that remind us that we are safe and that we are free. The fire and the light in the sky is a symbol of patriotism and of remembering. Again about Kelly Charlton, the driving force, the vision, the reason that we were able to accomplish this project. She said to me the other day, and I'm going to read it so I get it right, she said, "Not everybody gets an opportunity to leave a mark so incredibly visible as this." So if you don't mind, Mayor, I'd like to ask Kelly Charlton to come up, talk about a little bit what it means for her to be a patriot. Talk about what this project has meant to her, and specifically what this Bison means to her. Kelly.
Good morning, everyone. So proud to be here today. I'm over weeping on the side of the event. I grew up in San Diego. I was very close to my father, who served in the Navy, and my uncle, who served in the Marine Corps. I didn't just love them and live with them. I was immersed in a military town. We had the Coast Guard sitting in our harbor. Every time I went sailing, I saw a battleship or an aircraft carrier come down the harbor, right down the Midland. I grew up near Miramar Air Force Base, and I watched those soldiers in Coronado. I got married, I moved away, I had children. And one day my stepson said to me, I'm going to join the Army. And I said, okay. His first duty station was in Iraq, in Saddam Hussein's palace. My oldest child said to me as a junior in high school, Mom, I'm going to go into the Army. And he went into the infantry. First he served in the DMZ in South Korea. And then he was stationed in Iraq. A single survivor twice. He worked in the infantry on tanks. And then the second son was recruited to play in the United States Army Band and served for 6 years around the Pacific Rim. And when his time was up there, he re-enlisted, and he ended up in Afghanistan doing security duty. And then my third son said, Mom, I'm going to graduate from high school early, and I'm going into the Army Reserves. And his first duty station was in Qatar and then in Afghanistan. My proudest moment as a mom was the Christmas I got to hang the flag on the door that had 4 stars. And I thank God every day for those boys who give us the freedom that we have. This bison means more to me than you can imagine. And I'm so proud to have been part of it. Thank you.
Blazing Freedom tells every soldier's story. It's our story of American freedom through our veterans' service and sacrifice. While most of the artwork is of the modern era, this bison represents all American soldiers of all American wars, from independence to the world wars, from Korea and Vietnam to the Gulf War, to the war on terror and enduring freedom, and all in between. None are forgotten. Blazing Freedom, this bison, is a thank you and a tribute to the men and women who served and sacrificed, and to their families and loved ones at home who served and sacrificed as well. At this time, I'd like each of you just to take a moment and think of someone you know, someone you may be related to, or someone you know of who served in the Army, or the Navy, or the Air Force, or the Marines, or the Coast Guard, who served in the armed forces. If you could think about them, reflect on what they mean to you and what a difference it has been in your life. I'm sure that somebody comes to mind for each of us. Maybe there are several people that come to mind. Think about the opportunities you have as a result of their service. Then, in the future, when you drive by Veterans Park and you see this monument, or when you take some time to come here and visit this monument, let the artwork on this bison remind you of that individual and the countless others that we don't know about. Let it remind you of their courageous lives, of the tragedy and of the triumph that they faced and experienced. Let Blazing Freedom memorialize in your hearts these soldiers, these patriots. Let this spot cause you to consider what it means to be free. Let this monument inspire you to live up to the opportunities afforded you as a result of their service. Let it remind you that they gave their all for us. To our veterans, this is our way of remembering and recognizing you. This is our way to say thank you. To each of us, let us never forget.